Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're setting the stage to uncover a truly legendary, actionable framework for achieving immense success. We're diving into Napoleon Hill's groundbreaking work, Think and Grow Rich. Look, if you've ever wondered how the most successful people in history built their fortunes and seemingly bent reality to their will, well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down the exact philosophy and the practical steps that make up this incredible blueprint. I want to hook you right away with this profound thesis. More gold has been mined from the brains of men than has ever been taken from the earth. This right here is the core foundation of everything we're about to discuss. True wealth, whether we're talking financial riches, immense success, or just deep personal fulfillment, it doesn't originate from backbreaking physical labor or sheer dumb luck. It comes from the incredible, largely untapped power of human thought. It literally all begins in the mind. To really grasp how weighty this philosophy is, we have to look at how it actually came to be. Because this wasn't just some weekend side project. More than a quarter of a century before the book was even published, the industrial magnate Andrew Carnegie tasked a young Napoleon Hill with an epic mission. Carnegie gave him exclusive access to study over 500 of the wealthiest, most successful men in America. We're talking absolute titans like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Charles M. Schwab. The goal? To spend 25 years distilling the precise, repeatable formula for their phenomenal success so that literally anyone could apply it.
All right, Section 1, Thoughts are things and the power of a definite purpose.
You know, we hear the word desire thrown around all the time, but a fleeting wish, that just isn't enough. It has to be forged into an unyielding purpose. Take the absolutely incredible story of Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes had a burning desire to work with the great inventor Thomas Edison. And notice I said with him as a business partner, not for him as an employee. The problem was he didn't even know Edison, and he couldn't even afford the train fare to New Jersey. So what does he do? He travels by blind baggage on a freight train. When he finally arrived at Edison's laboratory, he looked like a tramp, but Edison later noted that Barnes's face conveyed this absolute, unshakable determination. Barnes started out doing menial work for years just waiting for his opening. And eventually, when Edison's new dictating machine was failing to sell, Barnes stepped right up, sold it successfully, and secured a national contract. He essentially thought himself into a multi-million-dollar partnership, all because his purpose was absolutely definite. Moving on to Section 2, 3 Feet from Gold, the tragedy of stopping too soon. To truly figure out how to succeed, we first have to look at the most common pitfall out there, the devastating habit of quitting when faced with temporary defeat. 3. That's the tragic number in the story of R.U. Darby and his uncle. Back during the gold rush days, Darby's uncle staked a claim, bought machinery, and actually discovered a shining vein of gold ore. But then, suddenly, the vein just completely disappeared. They drilled and drilled desperately, but found absolutely nothing. Overcome by temporary defeat, they threw in the towel. They sold all their heavy machinery to a junkman for a few $100 and went back home. But that junkman, he was smart. He hired a mining engineer who calculated that the original miners just didn't understand fault lines. The engineer advised that the main vein of gold would be found exactly 3 feet from where the uncle had stopped drilling. And guess what? That is exactly where it was. The junkman made millions, all because the uncle stopped 3 feet from gold. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between just accepting failure and actually transmuting it. See, years later, Darby paid back every single dollar he had borrowed for that failed line. But more importantly, he learned a massive lesson from his uncle's tragic surrender. When Darby went into the life insurance business, he kept that memory front and center. He realized that no doesn't mean no. Every single time a prospect tried to turn him down, he remembered stopping 3 feet from gold, and he flat out refused to quit. That one single realization turned Darby into one of the rare salesmen who sold over $1 million in life insurance annually. Which brings us to Section 3, the power of desire, burning your bridges. So, how do we ensure we don't give up 3 feet from our own goal? Simple, by totally eliminating the option of failure. Consider this historical anecdote of a great warrior who was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men vastly outnumbered his own. He sailed his soldiers to the enemy's shores, unloaded them, and then gave a truly shocking order. He told them to burn the very ships that had brought them there. Addressing his men before the battle, he pointed to the smoke billowing up behind them and declared, "We now have no choice. We win or we perish." And of course, they won. To achieve immense riches or success, you must be willing to burn your ships and cut off all avenues of retreat. Let's get into the mechanics. Section 4, 6 Steps to Riches, the Practical Formula. It's time to look at the exact blueprint Hill derived from Andrew Carnegie. I really want to walk you carefully through these 6 crucial steps because they are the mechanical engine of this entire philosophy. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Saying plenty of money isn't enough. You've got to be definite. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date by which you will possess this money. Fourth, create a definite plan and begin at once, regardless of whether you feel ready or not. Fifth, write all of this down in a clear, concise statement. And then we have the crucial point, this final 6th step. You must read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once right before bed and once right after waking up. And as you read it, you must see, feel, and actually believe yourself already in possession of that money. Next up, Section 5, The Alchemy of Faith, the head chemist of the mind. Now, I know what you might be wondering. How do you just magically force yourself to believe you have money when you clearly don't? Well, we need to demystify how faith is actually generated. It's driven by autosuggestion. That's the principle of voluntarily inducing faith through repeated affirmations and instructions to your subconscious mind. By repeatedly feeding your subconscious a specific desire, mixed with real emotion and expectancy, your mind eventually accepts it as an absolute fact. Repetition is literally the master key to convincing your subconscious. To help you master this, Hill provides a specific self-confidence formula. Let's quickly summarize how these structured daily mental habits literally magnetize your mind for success. 1. Demand persistent, continuous action from yourself toward your goal. 2. Concentrate your thoughts for 30 minutes a day on the exact person you intend to become, forming a crystal clear mental picture. 3. Devote 10 minutes a day to demanding the development of self-confidence. 4. Write down your definite cheese aim and never, ever stop trying to achieve it. And 5. Build everything on truth and justice, eliminating negative emotions, because power built on selfishness just cannot endure. To truly anchor this lesson on the sheer power of faith and holding a definite idea, let's look at Charles M. Schwab. Picture this. It's the year 1900 at the University Club in New York. A 38-year-old Schwab stands before the absolute most powerful bankers in America, including the legendary J.P. Morgan. And he didn't just give a polite, boring speech. He used his vivid imagination to paint a picture of a newly consolidated steel industry. He spoke for 90 straight minutes, radiating sheer faith and belief. He quite literally spoke the massive United States Steel Corporation right into existence. J.P. Morgan was so convinced that he backed the idea, creating a billion-dollar trust. Schwab took an intangible idea in his head, mixed it with absolute faith, and translated it into a massive, world-changing financial reality. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a highly provocative question to reflect on. What is your definite major purpose? And are you truly willing to burn your ships to get it? Napoleon Hill's research proves that wealth and success are not just happy accidents. They are the direct result of a precise formula of desire, faith, and action. So are you going to stop 3 feet from gold? Or are you finally ready to harness the power of your own mind? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I challenge you to start applying these principles to your life today. Catch you next time